So, hi, welcome back to the Noise Podcast. My name is Glory, and today I'm here with
I am Scott Anderson
from,
from Finger 11.
and today we're going to be chatting about their upcoming album, Last Night on Earth. So, congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to it so far?
I feel good. I mean, mostly I'm just glad it's finally, materialized. It's out of our heads.
Mm-hmm.
It's been quite a journey for us. Um, and it's been great so far, but it's early. It officially releases next, in a while next month, but
Yeah.
we have a few tracks out and it's been received very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice. It's a good feeling,
Yeah.
because the band feels great about it, but it's always nice to get a positive reaction from something that you've done that you
Absolutely.
yourself are proud of.
Exactly. That's great to hear. I'm happy to hear that the reaction has been wonderful so far. Obviously, before the interview, I did get the chance to listen to the record in full, and it is absolutely incredible. You guys outdid yourself. It is fantastic.
Thank you very much. That's
Of
that's
course.
that's wonderful to hear.
Hell yeah. So, is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Well, it's funny because Last Night on Earth, as far as like what naming the album,
Mm-hmm.
that was a last minute decision.
Really?
There were a few names that we were kind of throwing around, and then it was and James was working on this artwork for a completely different, you know, title
Yeah.
concept. And I think it might have been Steve, the drummer, or Rick, the guitarist, said, what if we called it Last Night on Earth?
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed to be, Last Night on Earth, the title track, like the song, is, kind of about that unsettling feeling after a conflict about, oh, what happens next? Like that dreadful feeling of like you just don't know what, um what tomorrow's going to bring. But
Mm-hmm.
there's this like it almost feels like there's like a space imagery
Yeah.
on the cover, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. There might be two meanings there, where you've spent your last night on Earth and you are now on like this different planet.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we're like, okay, that's maybe a more appealing thing than when we were getting at.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and go with Last Night on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
because we all felt strongly about the actual song too. So
Yeah.
um, we finalize that. It takes all five of us to enjoy, or kind of stamp a decision. And I'm proud to say we we arrived all at the same decision on that title, but it was a last minute one.
That's great to hear that everyone kind of agreed and was on the same page. It seems pretty easily, right?
Well, that's the problem with Finger 11. It's a blessing and a curse.
Mm-hmm.
All five members have to be happy. They all got to sign off on things, but it takes
Wow.
a long time
Mm-hmm.
to make decisions, but it keeps everybody happy and it keeps everybody together.
Yeah.
If you've got
All
one person that
benefits.
makes all the decisions, like that happens much faster.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got people that are like, well, okay, I don't, there's not much of a voice there,
Mm-hmm.
and that becomes unsatisfying and frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's it's I'm glad we work this way, but it just takes a while for things to get done.
Absolutely. Okay, so then are you able to tell me a little bit about the writing process for the record with that in mind? I'm curious on the timeline for songs then if you have to get every single member on board for a track.
Mhm. Yeah, well, we've discovered, that we do not work very well remotely.
Okay, yeah.
Now having said that, we have always, you know, if somebody has an idea, they'll just send a track and say, "Hey, check this riff out. What do you think?" And
Mm-hmm.
I'll maybe create a project and work on it, and I'll send it back, and then somebody else will have an idea, and that becomes, that's its own process. But Finger 11 has always had better results being in a room together,
Yeah.
and nowadays ideas can come from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If it's melodically, lyrically, shortening up this verse or extending this, there's no fear of like, oh, everybody, we try everybody's ideas as long as we have the time.
Yeah, yeah, right,
um
right.
so it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the old days, that just didn't really occur that much.
Mm-hmm.
It was maybe like, two people writing something, and then everybody gets together and like, puts things, we'll put it together as a band.
Mm-hmm.
but more than ever, it's like, oh, okay, like everybody gets to pipe up, and there's not a lot of egos
Okay, good.
that get in the way of a potential idea,
Mhm.
and so it's nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice feeling
Mhm.
this far along. I think it maybe I don't know how other bands do it,
Yeah.
but I do think that it's important that you shouldn't be afraid to try. Like, look, if somebody suggests like a lyrical idea, I'll try it, but I sometimes might not be able to betray my like sort of, oh boy, okay, well that lyric might be cool, maybe to say it, but singing it is a completely different thing,
Yeah.
and that's not really like that doesn't jive with the meaning of the rest of the song. But
Mhm.
okay, let's give it a try. Like I
Wow.
did sort of think of that.
Yeah.
So there's it's but I'm getting better at like sort of uh receiving ideas and trying to work with them. I think everybody is in the band.
Absolutely. Okay, that's great to hear. And what song off the record took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
I think Last Night on Earth took the longest to write.
Hmm.
I think there's the most iterations of that song. I'll say there's probably 6 or 7 different versions of that song.
Wow. Yeah.
And it started way back to the point where I don't remember the initial spark. Like I don't know what argument I had
Hmm.
with my significant other.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
remember what it was about. I remember the feeling,
Hmm.
and I remember needing to figure it out. And I'm lucky enough to be a musician and kind of process my feelings that way.
Hmm.
But we had this song, we knew it was really good, um and we did it over and over.
Hmm.
And you try to break open the project and not mess with it too much, try to improve it.
Yeah.
And it got to a point over like a number of years, and we thought, okay, that's good. Like there's a response to it,
Hmm.
outside the band. People are excited about this.
Hmm.
And I think it was Rick that said, yeah, like it's good, but what if we had like a really big chorus, like a super chorus?
Yeah.
And I was really frustrated by that,
Hmm.
even though he's not wrong, but it's the equivalent of saying, I have a good idea. Why don't we have a really good idea in this song? Like, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Let's
I'm
just
like,
crack it
yeah,
open, see what
okay.
happens.
Like
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
I know. I would love the song to be. I know what he's talking about, because there's those classic songs, they don't stop, where you listen, you're like, whoa, that's a great chorus. And
Hmm.
then boom, they'll give you something else.
Yeah.
And it's a great target to try to hit. Like that's
Hmm.
what you're trying to go for,
Yeah.
when you're writing these songs. So it took a long while. I bristled against the idea. I liked the track as it was. And it's like,
Hmm.
let's not ruin it, but he's not wrong. Like, what can we do? So
Yeah.
we came up with like a melody, and then
Hmm.
I remember, I think it was first thing in the morning,
Hmm.
and I think the lyric, like, is there any way the sun returns to shine in your eyes? I was like, that's pretty cool, and that it all works retroactively with the rest of it. That's the tough part, adding on to an idea where I think, well, this is a complete thought.
Hmm.
Well, how do you add to that? If you
Exactly.
feel if you
What
feel
else
like
is
it's
there to say?
complete.
Hmm.
So we eventually got there, and I'm glad. I'm glad Rick was the thorn in our side,
Hmm.
because he was right.
Yeah.
You want to be stubborn because you love the idea, but also you don't want to get in the way. Like, why are you being stubborn? Like,
Yeah.
are you just being lazy? What's the deal? So
Mm.
that Last Night on Earth takes the cake for longest. It started as one acoustic guitar and myself, just it had there was a verse and kind of a post, like a pre-chorus almost,
Mhm.
that I considered the chorus, but the rest is history. I
Okay.
the my favorite song
Yes.
that nobody's talking about,
Hmm.
uh but I really like, is Lock Me Up. I think Lock Me Up is a really neat song.
Yeah.
um I don't think there's a lot of Finger Eleven songs that sound exactly like it.
Hmm.
But that came from uh a demo that was good,
Hmm.
but you could tell the song needed work.
Yeah.
And so when you rewrite a song like that, it's either going to get better or worse, or
Hmm.
it's going to like wreck what's cool about it in the first place. And the song survived, and it got a little gloomier,
Mhm.
and a little cooler.
Mhm.
And I just think I like I like the harmonies in that song, and it just feels like there's songs where as a music lover, I'll just want to hear it again immediately.
Yeah.
I'll ruin songs that way, and
Oh, yeah.
that's part of loving music.
Exactly. Yeah, you
Um,
gotta stream it until you're sick of it. Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
There are songs that I'll write and I'll say, okay, cool, that's great. I'm glad it exists. I'm not sure I need to hear it a million times in a row, and
Mhm.
but that song, I was like, this doesn't have a lot of burn to it. This is good.
Yeah.
This is cool, man. This turned out, you know, this is what it sounded like in my head.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's my current favorite on on the record.
Perfection. All right. And how did the track list for the album come about? Did you write the opener to be the opener, closer to be the closer? Did you shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
I wish I could show you the chat log for that.
Oh.
That was probably the longest conversation. Now,
Hmm.
for myself personally,
Hmm.
I'm like, I know it's important, but I don't really
You
care.
care for it. Yeah.
I don't care. Now, Rick is the complete opposite. And
Yeah.
then everybody else is somewhere between myself and Rick.
Hmm.
So Rick, not only does he pay very, very close attention to like the ride you're
Hmm.
about to go on,
Hmm.
he does that for like as if you're listening to a CD, but
Yeah.
he'll also do it as if you're listening to vinyl because he's
Yep.
a giant vinyl enthusiast.
Mhm.
So um, it was, I want to say it was weeks of like, okay, what about this? Okay, what about this? All right, great. Like, well, this flows into this, and should
Mhm.
this be the last song, or maybe that's the second last? And so it's nice to know that
Mhm.
there is that level. I'll bet you, uh, all bands have that level of there's somebody in the band that like pays close attention to it.
Mhm.
Now, I'm glad Rick does it. Like somebody has to do it, and it's a pain in
Exactly.
the ass to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, so props to him and the rest of the band for figuring all that out.
Yeah, absolutely. So it took weeks because it was one person kind of spearheading it and trying to please everyone else.
And so they would put a list together, and then
Yeah.
people would live with it and say,
Yeah.
"I'm not sure,"
You know
you know,
what?
exactly
Oh
right. So it's a ton of fun, and
my.
I would just read through it and be like, "Yeah, he's right." I mean, but I was like, I like all these songs. The battle has been won,
Yeah.
and you know, we grew up listening to records from front to back, and I'm not, as far as like consumption goes, I
Mhm.
don't think that's how everybody does it nowadays. But it's still important,
Absolutely.
just in
Yeah.
case you want to sit down and listen. Like you yourself, you listen to it today. So
Yes.
there is a journey to be had, and
Mhm.
we finally cracked it, and there it is.
Exactly. That's all that matters. And would you be able to tell me where your headspace is at while you're creating the record?
Well, as far as trying to figure out what the record's going to be or
Mhm.
sound like or the tone of it,
Mhm.
I try to stay out of the way.
Mhm.
I try to let the music tell me
Yeah.
what's going on.
Gotcha.
uh, and the only thing I've, lately, like in my latter years, I've been trying to just not be so dang negative all the time.
Hmm.
So there's a song called Cold Concrete that initially was very, very negative,
Mhm.
and it turned into a song about like, okay, listen, I don't want to listen to those. I don't want to listen to negativity anymore.
Mhm.
I want to give like, I want to shine the spotlight on like, you know, anything other than that. I want to try to like get those voices out
Mhm.
and kind of shout them down or whatever. So that was my only mission statement. Like I'm not sure what I'm going to be writing about, but
Mhm.
I'm tired of this. Like I don't think we need any more negativity. I don't want, I like being in a band that delivers aggressive songs, but they don't have to come from like the sort of like 20-year-old like teenager angst
Mhm.
position anymore. I feel like that's it would be first of all insincere,
Yeah.
right? And just not something I'm interested in doing that's well trod territory. So
Mhm.
um but but I still want like heavy aggressive music coming from Finger Eleven. So I just tried to find a more positive voice when I could on this record. Not always, but most, I tried my best on most of the tracks to be positive.
All right, damn straight. And how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should they do it in the car with friends, dark with headphones on? Should they work out to it? What do you personally recommend?
I personally recommend, like, it's such a, I mean, again, it's such a personal experience. I'm a headphones guy.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a good idea either car is good,
Mm-hmm.
like on a walk maybe is best. Um, there's that really great, there that I guess the my favorite albums hit me, as a kid, where if I was like walking home from school or like mowing the lawn and listening to my Walkman too loud to compete with the sound of the,
Of course, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
lawnmower. So for me, it's gotta be, I'll absorb the music and I'll find what's special to me about it, and then I'll want to share it. Then I'll want to like maybe play it in the car with my friends. But I
Yeah.
would recommend listening on your own.
Yeah, for the first time. And then
Yeah.
spread the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And this one should be super, super quick. Off top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Old school rock.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Off the dome. You got that shit locked.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, see, it's really hard for me to like be brief, and it's such an art form.
Mhm.
But I know that we've given some thought to like what do old school Figure 11 fans want to hear,
Mhm.
but also, you know, we got to keep ourselves happy at the same time. So there's some really, really heavy stuff, there's some lighter stuff, but it's all equally important in Finger 11 land. So um I hope fans enjoy it.
Mhm. Damn straight, that makes sense. So, while going into the process of this record, how did you manage to balance the fan expectations with also still evolving and making music that you want to make?
Well, I think we do that by, you know, I don't think we've ever been interested in repeating ourselves.
Mhm.
And I think we're getting slightly better at our craft as far as not wasting a single second.
Mhm.
Sonically, there's something interesting happening, as much as possible.
Mhm.
And I think that, there's a pretty high level of quality control within the band.
Yeah.
So it's we're not at odds necessarily with somebody that decides that, oh, maybe it's not their cup of tea, but we can 100% stand behind it.
Mhm.
So I guess I just appreciate, any fan that has, stayed with us
Mhm.
all these years. I think there is uh, a lot to enjoy on this new record if you're an old school fan.
Yeah.
Um, but there's not a lot of we don't have a lot of control versus, as far as, okay, what are we going to do today? Like there's not too much of like, okay, it needs to sound like this, like
Mhm.
we don't run it we don't run the business that way. It's
Mhm.
more like, okay, what sounds good today to all of us,
Yeah.
so the goal has always been like, okay, what's the best thing we all five of us can come up with today?
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
there's so you got to trust us
Mhm.
to sort of come up with um something we hope you'll enjoy, but it's coming from a real place from all of us, and we love it. And I think, if you come to see the band live,
Mhm.
you'll see a bunch of guys that are still into it. Like, we're still doing this for the love of the game, and
Damn straight. Mm.
that's that's a fun thing. Like, I've seen bands do that, and I've
Yeah.
seen bands do the opposite of that, and that's less
Mhm.
fun,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so it's neat. It's definitely keeping us young mentally,
Yeah. I fucking
right?
love to hear it. I love to hear it. And in the same vein as the question before last, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want this album to evoke in your listeners?
I think there's like there's some fun to be had. I
Mm-hmm.
think, having said that, like, okay, let's, absorb the album on your own. I think Adrenaline is, it's a song about, you know, being together,
Yeah.
and, just that sense of excitement.
Mhm.
and it's not even about that much more. It's really like it's definitely kind of a vibe song that way. Like it's fun.
Yeah.
I was definitely going for like, look, let's just have fun. Let's go as heavy as we can, but like there's nothing malicious in there. It's just more like, okay, let's just, you know, ride this out. Let's go as far as we can together.
Yeah.
There's and then, the mountain has the same sort of idea. There's it kind of lives in this kind of like it's like a slight fantasy adventure vibe to it.
Mhm.
And, again, like that's I think there's a I hope I think it took me a long time to sort of get knocked out of being like too serious.
Hmm.
There's the band really likes to have a good time together. There's a sense of humor that doesn't always punch through. And I think there's highs and lows emotionally, but it's there's a little more levity. There's more just sort of like rock and roll energy to it
Mhm.
than maybe there was before. But
Hmm.
I hope, there's something about like my favorite rock records. I don't get tired of them. They're just full of great songs that I love. And if we can sort of occupy that space for someone,
Mhm.
that would be the ultimate goal.
Absolutely. That's great to hear. Hell yeah. And for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour. You're at a gas station for a rest stop. You're going in. What is your snack of choice?
Okay, so I just got wise to I think they're called Zaps or Zap.
Oh yeah, the
And
the kettle chips.
yes, and
Yes.
but they have these pretzel twists. I
Oh
just we were and they're voodoo flavored.
no.
Yeah, yeah, they're
Oh.
called voodoo.
Mhm.
And it's not spicy.
Mhm.
They up in Canada we have chips called all dress, and you guys don't
Yes.
have them.
Oh, but I've
But
I've tried them, and let me tell you.
okay, okay, so this voodoo flavor
Mhm.
is close
Mhm.
to Zaps. It's really tangy. It's a ton of flavor. Like if you have too many, like your tongue is gonna sort of like burn,
Yeah.
but not from spice. It's
Mhm.
just gonna be like that sort of crazy vinegar.
Overstimulation
So
almost. Yeah.
I was loving them. That's literally the last thing I bought. A couple bags. We were at a gas stop and it was super early in the morning, and I bought a couple bags for the band, and they were they were sitting out in front. I just could not wait. I
Yeah.
could not wait for everybody in the band to try them. But that's my favorite. That's my favorite current snack.
Hell yeah, good pick. I did not know they had pretzel twists, so I will definitely. I'm keeping an eye out for that.
Yep,
That
they work. They
yeah.
work.
Oh, oh, I know. They gotta. And for the last couple questions, we're actually gonna shift away from music if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Great. So we're actually gonna go straight to death row. So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
This is so easy. This is so
Oh,
easy.
okay.
I love this question. I
Mm-hmm.
ask this question all the time.
I love it too.
Um, I haven't updated it for a while, and I think just this is where my head goes to.
Okay.
But I think it's gotta be like a box of McDonald's cheeseburgers. I
Really?
think it's almost, yeah, I think just like the form factor and like just the pick, like it's just got a perfect pile of ridiculous ingredients, and
Yeah.
the flavor is, it feels like it's the same flavor of my childhood.
Uh,
Um, yeah, and right. And if you just stuff your face with them, like who cares?
exactly.
But that would be, versus like a nice steak or something, like
Mm-hmm.
forget it. Like that's
Fuck
all
that.
good.
Yeah.
Um, and then we'll go with we won't go with Coke. We'll go
Mhm.
with like chocolate milk on ice. Let's do that.
You lost me
So
with
it's
the
gonna be
ice. I'm
I
sorry.
I know. I know it's a big choice, but
Yeah.
there's no, a drink that is like just has maximum cold. So
Mm.
um if you've got a nice thick chocolate milk, you don't really lose too much as long as you're on it, as long as you
Okay.
drink it fast.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, yeah, the ice and milk is a little, it's odd.
I'm trusting the
Fair.
process. I trust you. I will not
I
be
mean,
indulging.
listen, I'm the one on death row,
I was gonna
so
say it's your meal, so you know what? Just
yeah.
ignore me. Ignore me. It does not matter. It does not matter. And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Ooh. Okay. Well, what would it be like? I mean, I guess the most pleasant place in the world would be like, let's say, Animal Crossing or something,
Yeah.
where, you're just running around, but also you're beholden, you're in massive debt to Tom Nook.
Yes.
So that's a bit of a grind. But you could just fish and pick up weeds for a week. That might
Yeah.
be kind of fun. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
trying to, I mean, there's no danger. There's zero
You
risk.
said no threats, nothing.
No threats. Yeah. Like versus, I mean, it doesn't have to, I just keep thinking of video game things.
Mhm.
Maybe living in New Vegas would be a thrill to try to survive for a week.
Fallout, New
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah. Let's go there and see how I do. I will not last an hour.
I was gonna say you went from maybe like no threats or anything, Animal Crossing. Let me go to a
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic
Yeah.
nuclear world, right?
We'll just let the pendulum swing the other way. I mean,
Yeah.
see
Why
how
the
it
hell not?
goes.
Exactly. Well, we'll figure it out. And I have the honor of asking the last question. Every single person I've spoken to has actually said it is the most important question. What is your favorite color?
Oh, easy. Blue.
Blue? You got a specific shade of blue?
Blue. Ultramarine blue.
Ooh.
I think it was a pencil crayon shade that I had as a kid, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just a very dark blue.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Hell
It's
yeah.
very good.
Beautiful. Well, as I said, that's all the questions I have for you today. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
No, but don't I mean, yes. The answer is yes, not
Yes.
no. New record comes out November 7th, Last Night on Earth.
Mhm.
And check your concert listings because we're going to be playing live. We're going to be all over the place, and we're looking forward to seeing you.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. This has been Scott from Finger 11, and I've been Glory from the Good Noise Podcast.